Hello everyone, welcome back. Today we talk about presence, awareness, and how to integrate that in your life and achieve the results that you want. I found it hard for myself to get my head around being active in the world, getting things done, and at the same time being present and what I associated with being sitting there somewhere, meditating, and just accepting the moment. While on the other hand, I was kind of feeling that I wanted to do stuff, I wanted to achieve my results, I want to uh, get things done, and so I always found it hard to be present, to be in the now, and kind of accepting the moment. While on the other hand, I have desires or had desires that I want to meet and see as being fulfilled. So how can we close the gap between where we are, where we want to be, and being present and aware at all at the same time? This is what we're going to talk about today. And to start with, it's maybe good to say, okay, where are most people at? So most people are they are very focused on the outside world. They're focused on their reality around them and trying to fix it. So we are busy, we are trying to do the things, the hard stuff. We grind, we struggle, we suffer, so that one day, one time, one point in the future, we can feel better. But the truth is, there is no way to struggle yourself to happiness. There is no way to feel pain so that eventually you can be happy. So happiness starts with awareness and awareness of self, of peace, of inner peace, and it has to be inside first, so then it can show up in the outside. So how do we maintain this balance, this sense of being aware, and at the same time getting where we want to go and doing the things that are necessary to get us there, while being present and aware and in alignment with who we are and who we want to become. So what I discovered for myself is I call it the wheel of awareness. So we have three three levels that are kind of required to be in alignment and to be present, to be aware. And the first element is basically just being. This is open awareness. So this is like uh, if you are present, you are in the moment, you meditate, you disengage from the external world, from your surroundings, and you focus on your inner self. And by doing so, you become present, you detach from the mind rattling the words, the voice in your head. You just disengage, let it go, let it be, and allow yourself to be in the moment, to be uh, receiving, to be openly aware, without engaging a single thought. Whenever there's a thought popping up in your head, you let it go and don't attach any emotion to any thoughts, and you just stay centered in your sight. And doing so, you can increase your capacity to that awareness, to that inner presence. And the more you practice it, the bigger your awareness gets. You can become aware of your body, of your breath, of your feelings, of your connectedness, of your just your being, yourself, your energy, your frequency. And there are so many levels to it. All you need to do is to direct your focus inside of you. Direct your focus where it feels good, where you feel home, where you feel safe, where you feel that the world can go on its own for a while. Put the world on pause, let it be, uh, let the world do what it has to do without you, without your input, without your reaction to it. Focus inside and just be. And this is the first level of presence. And I think that I had a problem to understand that doing that actually doesn't allow me to get where I want to be. So from this state of being, there has to be another another aspect of it, which is the opposite, which is doing. So doing means we get active in the world, we are engaged, and doing is what most people are focused on. We are getting too much distracted about the things we do, but at the same time we don't pay full attention. We are not focused on what we do, so our actions, they lack in force, in clarity, in direction. So the more you get distracted by the things around you, the less clear your path is, and the less fulfilling are the things you actually do. So we always think that we have to do something so that later on we can feel better. But this later is actually never happening. It's always now. There's always now that is there, and now is always. There is no tomorrow, there is no later. There's always now. And unless we learn to harness this now in the way that we increase our capacity, or we expand into this now as much as possible, so that we can experience life to its fullest, in its fullest way, in its fullest aspect, fullest spectrum. And very important aspect of this is your attention, your focus on the things that you're actually doing. So what I mean by that is, if you, whatever it is that you do, are you really doing it, or are you thinking about something else, or are you thinking about the thing you have to do after it, or the things that you did before that, or a conversation you had with someone? And basically what I'm saying is, most of us, we are never present, never really presently focused on the things that we are actually doing. So if you have to wash dishes or clean your house or you drive the car, are you listening to music? Are you talking to someone? Are you thinking about something else? I'm not saying this is something bad or something you shouldn't do, but have you actually tried to be fully present at what you do and seeing the joy in doing the things with your full attention, and actually being so much at peace with what you're doing that anything else doesn't matter? And you can see this also, what I see a lot with tourists or people who take pictures of the site that they go. They're so busy with taking pictures and selfies and all the stuff that they think is important. They actually miss out on the actual experience. At the end, you have hundreds of pictures, but you don't remember you don't have a real experience of the place that you've been. A real memory, other than scrolling through hundreds of pictures and wondering why you don't feel connected to these pictures. And then we have it always as an afterthought, as an afterglow, and we always kind of want to be back there. We kind of feel sadness that the time is past, that it's over, and we we stick to these pictures and feel kind of bad, sad about the past, the time is gone, and so on, rather than let the moment be enough, the actions, the things that you do, and fully engage with them. So this is the second level. And the third level is the way we feel, why we are in the state of being, or why we are doing something. So feeling is another form of presence, or the intention that you have. Why are you doing the things that you do, and where you want to go? What is your direction? what is the vision that you have, and the intention that in everything you do or everything you don't do. And this is basically your inner guidance. You can also think of it as intuition. So the intuition is your inner compass, and once you are following on this track, on your intuition, you will go always in the right way, in the right direction. But how often do we find ourselves doing the things that we don't want to do, or being in situations we don't want to be in? And by following your intuition and setting your intent to be only where you feel good, to be in this centered state of happiness, inner peace, and maintaining this while you are moving through life, and taking it as a guidance to where you want to be. And as you do that, you will see that more and more things will show up that are in alignment with your inner true self, with your intent, and also with your true self-expression. So if your intent is not clear, if you are lack clarity in where you want to go in life, you will basically express that in your surroundings. Your lack of inner clarity will present itself in a lack of outer clarity, and you will be distracted, confused, and dissatisfied by the things happening around you, because they are not what you want to be or what you think, or they are not your true self. Rather, we tend to focus, we are engaged in the things we think we have to do. So basically we end up distracted, disconnected, and unhappy. And so how do these three things come together? The being, the doing, and the feeling. And I have this idea of a wheel. So the wheel of awareness. So if you imagine a wheel, the axis, the center point is your being. This is your open awareness, your inner self, your true inner self. And where the wheel touches the ground, this spot is where you come into doing, in the experience, in the reality, where your self expresses and puts its impression, your consciousness puts impression on itself, on the consciousness, and you see the reality that is reflected back to you. And this is a very small spot compared to the big wheel of awareness. But what people do, they are so focused on these reflections that present themselves as an effect of the course that they have set before. They are so engaged in that they actually lose connection to their inner self, to their state of being. And by doing that, we lose all our power. Think of a hurricane. The hurricane is so strong because it has a calm center. So if you can calm your center, if you are aware of your center and connect, if you are able to connect to it on a regular, constant basis, you will find yourself to be much more powerful in the things that you are doing and the way you interact with the world. And so we have the wheel, we have the inner state of being, and we have the contact, the road, if you wish, which is basically not a road, but more the actual creation in the here and now. And then we have the intent, the feeling. How do we feel about the things that are happening to us, or the things that are happening because we created them? And how do we feel about being ourselves, and which direction are we going? Which vision do we have? And how much in alignment is the path that we are on with ourselves and our true purpose? So I have a little sketch here. I don't know if you can, I brainstormed this morning. So if you see here, we have this wheel, and in the middle you have the wheel, then in the down you have the contact area, and this is how I see it. And if you think about it, you can also have this spiral. So the wheel is spinning, yes, but nothing is ever the same. So as we spin around, we are present, we see the reality passing, but we are always this eternal present being. But the reality is moving. But even we are unclear about our intent, even we, for example, we can be stuck in the past and we recreate the past that we experienced over and over again. So basically we run in circles, but these circles are never the same. There's always a spiral because nothing is ever the same. Things changes, circumstances changes, our energy changes, everything is in constant movement. So nothing which ever happens is an exact copy of what happened before. So basically we are spiraling through eternity, through the universe. We are the spiral. And if you think about it, this wheel which you extend into a spiral, you have access to anything that can ever be. You have access to infinite possibilities, and you can just tune yourself into these possibilities and set your intention on this. Be aware of your inner self, and then see the doing that comes out of it, the reality, the reflection, as a byproduct, as a natural course of events that is in absolute alignment with who you are and where you want to be. I hope I could explain this sufficiently to you, this wheel of awareness. Think of it as a wheel, think of it as a spiral. Don't get too caught up with this analogy, but I think it's a useful way to help you with presence, awareness, and how this all ties together. And hopefully it helps you to focus on what's important, which is the inside and not the outside. And if you think about one last thing, if you think about the wheel, the contact between the road and the wheel is one spot on the entire wheel, and we are so focused on this little part of reality that we forget that we are so much more than what we see and what we perceive in the here and now. So we are this entire being, this entire hurricane of consciousness and energy and force and power, and we are so drawn to this reflection of ours that we feel victimized, we disconnect, and that's why we lack power, we lack certainty, we lack direction in life. And instead of being the wheel, we feel, and being the driving force, we feel that life is spinning us around and that we don't have any control over the things that we do and experience, where in fact we are the power and you are the power. You just have to access it through awareness. And this being said, I hope this has been clear and that you can perceive it, and let me think what you think about it. Your thoughts, feedback, it's all welcome. And if you like this type of videos, let me know, and also any suggestions for improvement and so on. So see you next time. Have a good time and be aware.